I'm Vanessa, 19 years old, and on August 19th, 2023, at 2:14 in the morning, I found out my aunt stole my entire college fund because my cousin posted a photo from a yacht in Santorini. $310,000. Gone. While I was refreshing my tuition portal in my dorm room at Ohio State, he was drinking champagne in Greece with my future. My aunt said it was temporary, said he deserved something nice, said I was smart enough to figure it out. By September, I was locked out of my classes. My student ID stopped working. My lab access was revoked. What she didn't know was that the money came from a restricted educational trust created by my grandmother. And every vacation photo my cousin posted became evidence in a federal investigation that destroyed her life. Before I continue, like and subscribe if you believe karma is real, and comment where you're watching from. Now let me take you back to the night my world collapsed. On August 19th, 2023, at 2:14 a.m., in my dorm room at Ohio State University, Columbus, Ohio. I couldn't sleep. Fall semester tuition was due in 6 days. I'd been checking the student portal every few hours, waiting for the payment to clear. My grandmother had set up a college fund for me before she died in 2015. My parents managed it. Everything was supposed to be handled, but the portal kept showing a balance due. $53,000. First semester, room and board included. I refreshed again. The page buffered. My internet was slow. The whole building had terrible Wi-Fi after midnight. While I waited, I opened Instagram. Mindless scrolling. Anything to stop thinking about tuition. That's when I saw a post from my cousin Ethan, posted 14 minutes ago. The photo stopped me cold. Ethan stood on the deck of a yacht, barefoot, white linen shirt unbuttoned. Santorini's blue-domed buildings glowing behind him in perfect golden hour light. He held a champagne flute, head tilted back, laughing. The caption, "Generational wins only." I stared at my phone, read the caption again, "Generational wins." I scrolled through his recent posts. 5 days ago, he was in Paris. Before that, Rome. Before that, London. 3 weeks of luxury travel across Europe, first-class flights, 5-star hotels, yacht rentals. My chest tightened. Ethan was 21. He'd dropped out of community college 2 years ago. Worked part-time at his mom's real estate office in Frisco, Texas. Last I heard, he was barely making rent. Now, he was in Santorini drinking champagne on a yacht. I went back to the tuition portal, refreshed again, still unpaid. I called my mom. It rang 4 times. Voicemail. Too early. She wouldn't be up for another 5 hours. I called my dad. Same thing. I texted both of them. Tuition still isn't paid. Portal says I owe $53,000. What's going on? I stared at my phone, at Ethan's post, at the champagne, at the yacht. Something felt wrong. I opened my banking app, checked the account my parents had set up for college expenses, the one they deposited my monthly living stipend into. Balance, $847. That was normal. That was just my spending money. But the trust account, the one with the bulk of my college fund, I didn't have direct access to that. My parents managed it. They'd always told me not to worry, that it was handled, that Grandma Margaret had made sure I'd be taken care of. I tried to sleep, but I couldn't. Just lay there staring at the ceiling, listening to my roommate snore, thinking about Ethan on a yacht. At 6:30 a.m., my phone rang. My mom. "Vanessa, we need to talk." My stomach dropped. "What's wrong?" "There's been a problem with the college fund." I sat up. What kind of problem? She hesitated. Your Aunt Karen had to borrow some of it, temporarily. The room tilted. Borrow it? She's going through a rough patch financially. She needed help. She promised she'd pay it back before tuition was due. Mom, tuition is due in 6 days. I know, she's working on it. How much did she borrow? Silence. Mom, how much? Most of it. My vision blurred. Most of it? She said it's temporary. She has a big deal closing next month. She'll have the money back by then. I looked at Ethan's post, still open on my phone. The yacht, the champagne, Santorini. Mom, Ethan's in Europe right now, on a yacht. What? He's been posting about it all week. 5-star hotels, luxury travel. My mom went quiet. Did Aunt Karen use my college fund to send Ethan on vacation? Vanessa, Did she? I don't know. Your father and I are trying to figure this out. I hung up, sat there in the dark, and realized I might not be able to stay in school. On August 19th, 2023, at about 4:47 p.m., my parents' house in Plano, Texas. I drove 6 hours straight. Didn't stop, didn't eat, just drove. My parents were waiting in the kitchen when I arrived. My dad looked exhausted. My mom looked like she'd been crying. And my Aunt Karen sat at the table, arms crossed, face red. Vanessa, my dad said carefully, we're going to talk about this calmly. I dropped my bag. Where's my money? Karen flinched. It's not that simple. Yes, it is. Where's my college fund? I borrowed it, temporarily. I'm going through a difficult time financially, and I needed... You sent Ethan to Europe? Her jaw tightened. That's separate. He's on a yacht in Santorini right now, drinking champagne, posting about generational wealth. He needed a break. He's been struggling. I'm about to get kicked out of college. You're being dramatic. I felt rage crawl up my throat. Dramatic? I can't pay tuition. My student account is frozen. I'm going to lose my housing. My mom stepped forward. Vanessa, your aunt promised she'll pay it back. When? Karen looked down. I have a big real estate deal closing next month. As soon as it goes through, I'll return every dollar. What if it doesn't close? It will. But what if it doesn't? She didn't answer. My dad pulled out his phone. I'm recording this, for family clarity. Karen's head snapped up. Why? Because I want everyone to be clear about what was said. He aimed the phone at her. She looked trapped. Karen, did you take money from Vanessa's college fund? I borrowed it. How much? She hesitated. Most of it. How much is most? $280,000. My knees buckled. I grabbed the counter. My dad's voice stayed calm, deadly calm. And what did you use it for? Business expenses. Like what? Operating costs, payroll, debt restructuring? And Ethan's trip? Karen's face twisted. That was separate. He's been depressed. He needed something to look forward to. How much did the trip cost? I don't see how that's relevant. How much, Karen? $30,000. The room went silent. My mom's voice cracked. You spent $30,000 on a vacation while Vanessa's tuition went unpaid? He's my son. And she's your niece. I know that, and I'm going to fix this. I just need time. I looked at her, really looked at her. You're not going to fix this. Vanessa, you stole from me, from Grandma Margaret's trust, and you spent it on your son's Instagram vacation. I didn't steal anything. It's a loan. Then put it in writing. She blinked. What? Put it in writing. Sign a promissory note with interest and a payment schedule. Karen looked at my parents, at my dad's phone still recording, at me. Fine. I'll sign whatever you want. My dad pulled out a piece of paper, started writing. Karen signed it without reading it. I folded it, put it in my pocket. But I already knew. She wasn't going to pay me back. My student ID stopped working. I swiped it at the entrance to the science building. Red light. Error beep. I tried again. Same thing. A security guard approached. Miss, your access has been suspended. What? Why? You'll need to contact the bursar's office. I walked across campus, past students heading to class, past groups laughing on the lawn, everyone moving forward while I stood still. The bursar's office was packed. I waited 40 minutes. Finally, a woman called my name, led me to a desk, pulled up my account. Miss Lewis, your tuition payment bounced. Your account is frozen until the balance is cleared. Bounced? It was supposed to be paid from a trust. The bank rejected the transfer. Insufficient funds. My stomach dropped. That's impossible. I'm just telling you what the system shows. So what happens now? You have 7 days to clear the balance, or you'll be administratively withdrawn from all classes. What does that mean? It means you're no longer enrolled. You'll need to reapply for next semester. I'm in the middle of a biomedical engineering program. I can't just stop. She looked at me with tired eyes. I understand, but university policy is clear. I left the office in a daze, walked to the library, sat in the back corner where no one could see me. Called my mom. She didn't answer. Called my dad. Voicemail. Called Aunt Karen. Straight to voicemail. Her mailbox was full. I texted Ethan. Are you still in Europe? He responded 2 hours later. Yeah, why? Do you know what your mom did? She took my college money. 3 dots appeared, then disappeared, then appeared again. That's between you and her. I stared at the message, at his complete lack of care. Opened Instagram. He'd posted again. This time from Mykonos. Infinity pool, sunset. Caption, blessed life. Comments full of heart emojis and fire emojis and people saying goals and living your best life. I closed the app, sat in the library until it closed. That night, I packed my dorm room. My roommate asked what was happening. I told her I had a family emergency. She didn't push. I loaded my car, drove back to Texas, 8 hours, stopped once for gas. When I got home, my parents were asleep. I went to my old bedroom, lay on my childhood bed, stared at the ceiling covered in glow-in-the-dark stars I'd put up in middle school. Subscribe before you lose track of what happens next. My phone buzzed. Email notification. Ohio State student account. Subject, enrollment status update. I opened it. You have been administratively withdrawn from all courses effective September 13th, 2023. I turned off my phone and cried until my ribs hurt. Karen Reed wasn't always like this. Or maybe she was. I couldn't tell anymore. She was my mom's younger sister. Grew up in the same house in Richardson, Texas. Same parents, same opportunities. But somewhere along the way, Karen decided the world owed her something. She married young, divorced young, remarried at 35 to a man named Greg who owned a construction company. They had Ethan a year later. Greg left when Ethan was 4. Moved to Colorado, sent child support until Ethan turned 18, then stopped. Karen started her own real estate business in 2015. She was good at it for a while. Sold houses in Frisco during the boom, made decent money. But she spent more than she made. Always. New car every 2 years, designer clothes, expensive dinners. Ethan's private school tuition, even though he barely passed. My mom used to say Karen was trying to prove something. To who? I don't know. Ethan grew up entitled, spoiled, never heard the word no. He got kicked out of 2 high schools for cheating. Failed out of community college after 1 semester. Karen always blamed the teachers, the system, everyone but him. She got him a job at her real estate office, paid him $40 an hour to answer phones and post listings on social media. He showed up late, left early, and spent most of his time on his phone. Karen defended him, always. When my grandmother died in 2015, she left money to both me and Ethan. But Grandma Margaret knew Karen couldn't be trusted, so she put my money in a restricted educational trust, managed by a third-party firm, accessible only for tuition and approved educational expenses. Ethan's money went directly to Karen, as his legal guardian. It was gone within 2 years. Karen claimed she'd invested it, that it was tied up in the business, that Ethan would get it back eventually. He never did. I didn't know any of this until later, until I started digging. But looking back, the signs were always there. Karen borrowed money from my parents constantly. Always promised to pay it back. Never did. She asked my mom to co-sign a car loan. Defaulted after 6 months. Ruined my mom's credit. She convinced my uncle to invest in her business. Lost his money. Stopped talking to him. Family gatherings were tense. People smiled. Pretended everything was fine. But underneath, everyone knew. Karen took, and took, and took. And we all let her. Because she cried. Because she apologized. Because she was family. My mom used to say, "She's going through a hard time. We have to help her." My dad would just shake his head and say nothing. I used to feel bad for her. I thought she was misunderstood. I thought people were too hard on her. Now I understood. Karen didn't have hard luck. She had a pattern, and I was just the latest victim. On October 2nd, 2023, at my parents' house. Plano, Texas. I'd been home for 3 weeks, sleeping until noon, avoiding phone calls, watching Ethan's Instagram posts from Ibiza and Monaco, and pretending I didn't care. My mom knocked on my door. "Vanessa, there's a letter for you." "Just leave it. It's from Dallas. Looks official." I opened the door, took the envelope, thick, heavy, certified mail sticker on the front. Return address, Brennan and Associates Legal Trust Management, Dallas, Texas. I tore it open. Inside was a multi-page document, legal letterhead, dense paragraphs. The cover letter was dated September 28, 2023. Dear Miss Vanessa Lewis, we are writing to inform you of a compliance review triggered by irregular activity in the Margaret Lewis Educational Trust, established March 2011. I kept reading. This trust was created by Margaret Alice Lewis, deceased, for the sole purpose of funding post-secondary education expenses for the named beneficiary, Vanessa Marie Lewis. Per the trust agreement, all funds are restricted to direct-to-institution disbursements for tuition, housing, textbooks, and approved educational materials. Any withdrawal outside these parameters requires notarized authorization and supporting documentation filed with both the trustee and the IRS. My hands started shaking. Recent account activity shows a transfer of $280,000 to a personal account not affiliated with any educational institution. This transfer was flagged by our monitoring system as non-compliant. We are required by law to investigate and report any misuse of restricted trust funds to the appropriate authorities. I read it again, then again. Restricted trust. Direct-to-institution disbursements. IRS reporting requirements. This wasn't just family drama. This was federal. I kept reading. According to our records, the transfer authorization was submitted by Karen Louise Reed, listed as secondary trustee. However, the signature on file does not match the notarized authorization required under Section 4.2 of the trust agreement. Additionally, no supporting documentation, enrollment verification, tuition invoice, institutional payment plan was provided. I stopped breathing. Karen had forged documents. The letter continued. We have suspended all account activity pending resolution of this matter. We have also forwarded this case to our legal compliance department and filed a preliminary report with the IRS per Treasury Regulation 1.671-4. You will receive additional correspondence within 15 business days. At the bottom, a phone number, a case number, a deadline. I walked downstairs. My parents were in the living room. I handed them the letter. My dad read it. His face went white. She forged authorization. Who's the secondary trustee? I asked. Your aunt. Your grandmother named her as backup in case something happened to us. Why would Grandma do that? My mom's voice was quiet. Because Karen begged her, said she wanted to be involved, to help. Your grandmother didn't trust her, but she didn't want to cause family drama. I felt sick. So Karen had legal access to the account? Only as secondary trustee. She couldn't withdraw funds without proper documentation and your parents' approval. But she did it anyway. My dad nodded. And she falsified documents to do it. I sat down, tried to process. My grandmother had built-in protections, legal safeguards, rules designed to prevent exactly this. And Karen had broken every single one. My mom looked at me. What do we do? I picked up my phone, opened Instagram, went to Ethan's profile. Every post was still there. Santorini, Mykonos, Ibiza, Monaco, timestamped, geotagged, public. I started screenshotting every photo, every caption, every location tag. What are you doing? My dad asked. Building a case. For what? I looked at him. For everything. I didn't call Karen, didn't confront her, didn't tell anyone outside my parents what I'd found. I just waited and watched. Every day, Ethan posted. His European vacation stretched from 3 weeks to 5, then 6. Barcelona, nice. Portofino, Lake Como. Each post was more extravagant than the last. Private villas, Michelin star restaurants, helicopter tours. The comments poured in. Living the dream. So jealous. What do you do for work? He never answered that last one. I saved everything. Every photo, every story, every geotag. Used a screen recording app to capture the stories before they disappeared. Created a folder on my laptop labeled Evidence. Organized by date and location. My parents thought I was obsessing. My mom kept saying I should let the lawyers handle it. But I knew something they didn't. People like Karen only got caught when their arrogance outweighed their caution. And Ethan was broadcasting their crimes to thousands of followers. I got a job at a coffee shop near my parents' house. Morning shifts, minimum wage. It kept me busy, kept me from thinking too much about the semester I was missing. Customers asked if I was in school. I said I was taking time off. They nodded, didn't push. At night, I researched. Read everything I could find about trust fraud. about IRS investigations, about what happened when people misused restricted educational funds. The penalties were severe, civil and criminal charges possible, asset seizure, liens, sometimes prison. I called the law firm in Dallas, spoke to a paralegal named Troy. He confirmed they were investigating, said it would take time, said I should be patient. I told him I had documentation, photos, social media posts, timeline of expenses that matched the withdrawal date. He asked me to send everything. I did. A week later, he called back. This is extremely helpful. We're building a timeline of fund usage. These posts are basically a confession. What happens next? We complete our review, submit our findings to the IRS. They decide whether to pursue criminal charges. How long does that take? Could be months, could be longer. I thanked him, hung up, went back to waiting. Mid-November, Ethan finally came home. Posted a photo from DFW Airport. Caption, "Back to reality." The comments, "Welcome home, King. Can't wait to hear all about it." I drove past Karen's house in Frisco. Saw Ethan's car in the driveway. A black BMW new, dealer plate still on. Another purchase, another luxury he didn't earn. I took a photo of the car, added it to the evidence folder. My phone buzzed. Text from my mom. Karen wants to talk to you, says she has an update about repayment. I stared at the message, typed back, "Tell her to talk to the lawyers." My mom called immediately. "Vanessa, she's family. We should at least hear her out. She stole from me. She borrowed. She forged documents and committed fraud. There's a difference." My mom sighed, didn't argue. I went back to work, made lattes, smiled at customers, pretended everything was fine. But underneath, I was counting down, waiting for the moment Karen realized she couldn't charm her way out of federal law. It came sooner than I expected. November 28th, 2023. My dad called me at work. "We need to talk, now." I left early, drove to my parents' house. He was waiting in the garage, door closed, face grim. I talked to a friend who works in real estate finance. "Okay." I asked him to look into Karen's business. Quietly. I sat down on a storage bin. "What did he find?" My dad pulled out printed spreadsheets, bank statements, tax filings, public records. Karen's business has been failing for 2 years. She's behind on commercial lease payments, owes back taxes, has 3 outstanding judgments against her. My stomach tightened. How much does she owe? Over $400,000. I stared at him. 400,000? She took out loans she couldn't repay, made bad investments. Her last 3 real estate deals fell through. She hasn't closed a sale since March. So she's broke. Worse than broke. She's in debt. Deep debt. I thought about the yacht, the hotels, Ethan's new BMW. Where did the money for Ethan's trip come from? My dad pointed to a highlighted section. Wire transfer from the trust account, dated August 10th, 2023, same day she booked the flights. So she didn't just borrow the money, she planned it. It looks that way. I felt something shift inside me. Not anger. Clarity. Ethan's trip wasn't a gift, it was a distraction. What do you mean? Think about it. If she's drowning in debt, if her business is collapsing, people are going to ask questions. Creditors, business partners, family. But if her son is living large on social media, posting about generational wealth, what does that suggest? My dad's eyes widened. That she's successful, that the business is fine. Exactly. She used my college fund to create an illusion. My dad sat down, put his head in his hands. She used you to save her reputation. And when the real estate deal she promised never closes, she'll claim it fell through. Blame the market, the economy, anything but her own failure. Vanessa, I'm so sorry. I should have seen this earlier. It's not your fault. I trusted her. We all did. I looked at the paperwork, at the numbers, at the proof of everything Karen had hidden. Does she know you have this? No, and I'm not telling her. Good, neither am I. Subscribe, because you need to see what happens when lies catch up. I went home that night, added the financial documents to my evidence folder. Karen wasn't just a thief. She was a con artist. And Ethan wasn't a spoiled kid on vacation. He was a prop in his mother's desperate performance. The yacht photos weren't celebration. They were camouflage. But the IRS didn't care about optics. They cared about numbers. And the numbers didn't lie. December 11th, 2023, 7:43 a.m. My phone rang. Unknown number. Dallas area code. Miss Lewis, this is Troy Bennett from Brennan and Associates. We've completed our review. I sat up. And? The evidence is conclusive. Unauthorized withdrawal. Forged authorization documents. Misappropriation of restricted trust funds. We've submitted our report to the IRS. What happens now? They'll open a formal investigation, subpoena bank records, interview involved parties. If they find evidence of willful fraud, they can pursue criminal charges. My hands started shaking. How long does that take? The IRS moves slowly, but in cases with clear documentation like this, they tend to act faster. Weeks? Months? Could be either. I thanked him, hung up, told my parents. My mom cried. My dad just nodded, like he'd been expecting it. That afternoon, I checked Karen's Instagram. She'd been quiet lately, no posts in 3 weeks. But her real estate company page was active, new listings, happy client testimonials, everything designed to look successful. I clicked on the reviews. Most were old, nothing recent. Her website hadn't been updated since July. Something was unraveling, slowly, quietly. December 18th, 2023. Ethan posted for the first time since coming home. Photo of the new BMW caption. Upgrade it. The comments were full of praise. Congratulations. Questions about where he worked. He ignored all of them. I felt disgust rise in my throat. He had no idea, no clue what was coming. December 22nd, 2023. My dad got a call from his friend in real estate. Karen's office is closed, permanently. What? Drove by today, windows papered over, eviction notice on the door. My dad told me that night. I wasn't surprised. December 29th, 2023. A notice appeared in the Collin County Public Records. Karen's house in Frisco entered pre-foreclosure. Missed mortgage payments? Bank notice filed. 30 days to cure or face foreclosure sale? I showed my parents. My mom looked sick. She's losing the house, my dad said quietly. Good, I said. My mom looked at me. Vanessa, she stole my future. Now she's losing hers. That's not cruel. That's consequences. My mom didn't argue. January 2024. The updates came faster. Bank accounts frozen. IRS audit notice. Business assets seized. Karen stopped answering calls from everyone, including my parents. Ethan's social media went quiet. No posts, no stories, just silence. I heard through family gossip that Karen tried to reach out to relatives for money. No one helped. Everyone had been burned before. My uncle, the one she'd scammed years ago, told my dad, "She made her choices. Now she lives with them." February 4th, 2024. An article appeared in a local Frisco newspaper. Small mention. Easy to miss. Local real estate agent under federal investigation for trust fund fraud. It didn't name Karen, but it didn't have to. Everyone in her circle knew. The comments section filled with former clients. People she owed money. People she'd lied to. Her reputation was destroyed. Publicly, permanently. February 14th, 2024. I received a letter from Brennan and Associates. Dear Miss Lewis, we are pleased to inform you that the trust funds have been fully restored through asset recovery and penalty enforcement. Your account balance is $310,000 plus accrued interest. You may resume educational expenses immediately. I read it 3 times, hands shaking. My college fund was back, all of it, plus interest. I called Ohio State that afternoon, spoke to an advisor, explained the situation. They reviewed my case. You can re-enroll for spring semester. Classes start in 2 weeks. I'll be there. I hung up, looked at my parents. I'm going back. My mom hugged me. My dad smiled, and for the first time in 6 months, I felt like I could breathe. February 26th, 2024. I packed my car, loaded it with everything I'd need for the semester, drove back to Columbus. Campus looked the same, but I felt different, harder, less naive. I re-enrolled in my biomedical engineering program, picked up where I'd left off. Professors were understanding. Classmates asked where I'd been. I kept it vague. Family issues. They didn't push. Back in Texas, Karen's life continued to collapse. The house sold at foreclosure auction in March. She and Ethan moved into a small apartment in McKinney. 2 bedrooms, cheap complex. Ethan deleted most of his Instagram posts. The yacht, the champagne, the BMW, all gone. His profile was nearly empty now. Just a few old photos from before the trip. The BMW was repossessed in April. Karen tried to restart her business under a different name. No one hired her. Her reputation was ruined. Word traveled fast in the real estate community. She got a job at a grocery store, stocking shelves, minimum wage. My mom told me this over the phone. I didn't respond, just listened. She's struggling, Vanessa. I know. She's family. I know that too. Do you think you'll ever forgive her? I thought about it, about the night I found out, about packing my dorm room, about the months of waiting and watching while everyone told me to let it go. I don't know, Mom. Maybe one day, but not today. My mom sighed. That's fair. Karen sent me a letter in May, handwritten. 3 pages. It talked about mistakes, about regret, about how she'd been desperate, about how she'd thought she could fix everything before anyone got hurt. It didn't say sorry. Not really. It asked for understanding, for mercy, for a chance to rebuild our relationship. I read it once, put it in a drawer, didn't respond. Ethan never reached out, never apologized, never acknowledged what happened. His Instagram stayed quiet, a few generic posts here and there. No luxury, no bragging, just silence. I heard through family that he got a job at a call center, that he was living with Karen, that things were tense. I didn't feel satisfaction, didn't feel vindicated, just tired. June 2024, end of spring semester. I finished strong. Dean's List. Back on track. My advisor told me I could graduate on time if I took summer classes. I enrolled immediately. My parents visited in July, took me to dinner, told me they were proud. You handled this better than most adults would have, my dad said. I didn't have a choice. You did. You could have stayed angry, could have let it destroy you. You didn't. I shrugged. I just wanted my life back. You got more than that. You got justice. Maybe, but justice felt hollow. It didn't undo the lost semester. Didn't erase the shame of being kicked out. Didn't fix the trust that was broken. It just ended things. That was enough. August 2024. 1 year since the yacht post. I opened Instagram, looked at Ethan's profile one last time. His last post was from March. A sunset. No caption. 12 likes. I unfollowed him, blocked him, moved on. Some chapters don't need closure. They just need to end. Spring 2025. I was back at Ohio State, on track to graduate in May. Biomedical engineering degree. Job offers already coming in. The college fund is still there. Managed properly now. My parents are the only trustees. Karen's name was removed. I haven't spoken to her since the letter. Haven't seen her. Haven't tried. My mom says she asks about me sometimes, wants to know how I'm doing. If I'm still angry, I'm not angry anymore. I'm just done. Ethan still lives in McKinney, still works at the call center, still drives a used car. The yacht photos are gone. The champagne is gone. The illusion is gone. All that's left is the truth. Karen didn't steal my college fund to help her son. She stole it to save herself. And when that didn't work, she lost everything anyway. The IRS investigation closed in December 2024. No criminal charges filed. Just civil penalties, asset seizures, financial ruin. She'll be paying it off for years. My grandmother built that trust to protect me. She knew. Even back in 2011, she knew Karen couldn't be trusted. And in the end, the safeguards worked. The restrictions held. The law caught up. Some people learn from their mistakes. Others just learn to hide better. I don't know which one Karen is, and I don't care anymore. I'm graduating in 2 months, starting my career, building the future my grandmother wanted for me. The one Karen tried to steal and failed. If this story moved you, subscribe and drop a comment. Would you forgive family theft or walk away forever? I will read every one.